Do you ever have a memory of something in your childhood that you so vividly remember in your mind, but then when you ask your parents about it later, like, hey mom, you remember that time we went to Disney World? Your mom says, we never took you to Disney World, bitch. We were too poor for that shit. Well, these are called false memories. Something you remember doing but never happened. It could be because you kept seeing commercials about it or watched a movie that really resonated with you so much when you were younger that later on your memory can't tell the difference between real and fake. I think that's a lot of why we love shows we watched growing up, especially since you have more of an imagination in your younger years. You weren't watching a TV show or playing a video game, you were there. And I played a lot of video games when I was a kid, especially during the PS1 era because they were just giving out the demo discs with the PlayStation magazines that had like 5 or 6 demos on them. So most of the time I didn't even know what I was playing. I just popped in the disc and played whatever demo was first and then hopped on to the next demo. And now that I'm older, there's so many games that only live in my mind that I'm not even sure that are real. I could be easily like combining a couple games in my mind or remembering them wrong. For years, I thought it might have been Tekken 3 I was remembering because I do remember it having that same kind of art style. Also, I do remember having Tekken 3 growing up. But I've replayed Tekken 3 since then and it wasn't that. I remember specifically it having a weird third-person dungeon mode where you're like underground or something and you had to complete quests. I thought maybe it could have been the Tekken 3 demo and then they just cut that feature when the full game launched. But I watched footage of the Tekken 3 demo and it doesn't have any kind of mode like that. So I went years just thinking it was like a false memory and I'm just combining a few games in my memory or something. I felt like I was going crazy. Well, turns out I wasn't crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to the game that's only lived in my memory for 24 years. God damn, the memories are flooding back. I remember this music, the fighters, that weird alien dude that always creeped me out, the strange planet we seem to be on. Also, there's something about like early PS1 cutscenes and music, just a total vibe. But besides the vibe, we get a first look at the fighters we can play. It looks like they're all coming from across the universe to this big ass palace to take part in this major fighting tournament. And that's about all the story we get. And honestly, that's all the story you really need in fighting games. Just give me a vague reason to kick someone's ass, and I'll travel from across the galaxy to this weird alien dude's palace that definitely doesn't look like he's high as a kite. We get 8 fighters to play, and they all have their unique kind of fighting styles, especially like if you pick a bigger dude or a smaller dude, or there's even a robot in here you can play as. They all have their own kind of unique move set, which is pretty cool. I'm not really familiar with fighting games. I don't play a lot of them because I'm not good at them. My favorite fighter is this old man because, well, I like to say because he's wise and knows the ancient ways of Kung Fu, but I know for a fact I just picked him because it's funny watching an old man kick ass. And also, when he wins, he does this. So now that I know I'm not crazy and this game actually exists, let's do some research. So Tobal number 1 was developed by Dream Factory and published by Squaresoft, believe it or not. Wow, okay. That's surprising to me. I just never associate Squaresoft with anything besides RPGs. I also was looking up reviews to get an idea of how the game was received back then, and apparently people noticed the game steals complete animations from Tekken, so a lot of people just disregarded this game as like a cheap knockoff. Like I said, I'm not that into fighting games, so I couldn't tell you, but I also heard if you're like a serious fighting game fan back then, you had a Sega, so this coming out on the PS1 probably didn't do it any favors either. But most all the reviews I was reading, they really liked the character designs. They described them as uniquely odd yet somehow likable. And I agree. That's one of the reasons I remember this game so much. Each one of these characters have their own style and personality to them, but I think there's a reason for that, and I'll get into it later. This game also features an interesting 8-way movement system, meaning you can fully rotate around the characters. Apparently most fighting games back then, even the 3D ones, kept you on a 2D plane, meaning you could only go left, right, jump, and crouch. So with Tobal number 1, letting you position yourself around the characters was interesting at the time. Well, at least interesting enough for people to mention it in these reviews. So upon replaying the game now, besides the nostalgia-soaked wonder that I'm in, I have a little bit more of experience playing games now, so I can kind of critique what I like and dislike about this game. The first thing I noticed was the AI. The AI was way too easy, and that's saying a lot for me because with fighting games, I just usually button mash until I win. Most of the times, the AI just stands there and blocks. Now, there is a hard mode, okay, but I didn't touch the hard mode, but the point I'm making is I was playing on normal, but it felt like easy. So yeah, if normal is too easy for me, then it's going to be a cakewalk for someone that's a veteran of fighting games. But I started to get excited after I defeated all the fighters on the roster, because then the game starts to throw new opponents at you. Opponents like Mufu here that looks like a frog, or Nork that takes up the whole damn screen. I thought it was going to lead up to some challenging boss fight at the end. We're fighting all these unique, crazy characters that are just look like aliens. But nope. We just fight the scrawny alien bunny dude that apparently speaks Russian.
Continue.
But where he's so small, if you're playing as a bigger fighter, he could be more difficult just because he's harder to hit. Your punches will go right over him. Also, it doesn't have special endings for each character. You just get a trophy and it plays the same cutscene for everyone. Thanks, I guess. I was hoping to at least unlock some of those secret characters we were fighting earlier. It would give me a reason to beat tournament mode on each fighter if we unlock new characters, you know? The levels were alright. They range from really good to just mediocre, I feel like. I like the city one with the cars going by in the background, or this colorful fantasy-like castle on an island floating around other pieces of land. A lot of these levels blur the line between real places and dreamlike nonsense. They sit right in the middle. Like with this palace isolated in the middle of water with no roads or pathways leading up to it. These windmills being so large they reach above the clouds with a group of houses just nestled in the sky beside them. Some of these levels give off a ethereal vibe. And then others can be pretty bland. I guess all the levels can't be bangers, but I mean, I wouldn't mind if all the levels had that dreamlike kind of ethereal vibe to them. I like those way more than these like just normal dojo ones or the one that's in a mine shaft. Anyways, enough of the fighting mode. The mode I spent the most hours in was the quest mode. The way quest mode works is you have an overworld area with different episodes or dungeons. You load into these dungeons and it gives you an objective. This one is to find some mammoth meat. So you explore this dungeon, fighting monsters, avoiding booby traps, and buying items from shops to replenish your health until you complete the objective. And then you finish that episode or that dungeon. And then you go on to the next one. As you see, you've got a health bar up there. And that health bar does not recharge after every dungeon. That's right. You get one life. If you die, you start all over. Which really puts a damper on the whole experience. I do not remember that as a kid, probably because I wasn't paying attention and I was just like kind of wandering around this cool dungeon mode in a fighting game. It does give you like health. Sometimes when you kill enemies or They'll drop food and you pick up the food to eat to replenish your health, and then the item shops as well. You can buy health potions or health food there. But I feel like it doesn't recharge your health that much compared to the damage you'll be taking failing to jump over the booby traps thanks to these janky controls. The controls work great for fighting, but it's very obvious the controls wasn't meant for this. I appreciate this game trying something new, and all these years later, that's the reason why this game stood out in my mind, because of this weird quest mode and these designs. But sadly, quest mode is something you'll absolutely want to do. Why, you may ask? Remember those secret characters I was complaining about not being able to unlock earlier? Well, quest mode is how you unlock them. For every dungeon you finish, one of those hidden characters unlock. That sucks, dude. These dungeons are they're not even difficult. It's just there's so many jumping areas you have to do, and you can barely see like the booby traps until you ride up next to them because of the draw distance. It sucks, dude. This just sucks. I tried so hard. Listen, everyone, I tried so hard to at least unlock a few of the characters. All right, but goddamn, it's just so difficult. So you know what I did? I just got the cheat codes out, baby. Unlocks all the hidden characters. I ain't had to do nothing. And they definitely were not kidding when they said they were hidden. Look at this character screen. To you, it might look like, oh, what the hell? There's no extra characters. Where are they at? It's because they're literally off the fucking screen. How the hell would anybody know if they unlocked anything? Even if the game says you've unlocked a hidden character, well, you'd go to the character selection screen and you won't see any characters there. And you'd be thinking, what the hell, game? I didn't unlock no characters. Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, we got the characters. They're just off the screen. Here's us playing as Mufu, Big Frog Man. Here's us playing as that big guy that couldn't fit on the screen, but they won't let you play the big one. We're playing as his baby or something. I don't know. So even though I enjoyed quest mode when I was younger, and it was a standout feature, it's not what people bought this game for. Now, this game didn't do great in sales, like I said before, but that was compared to the other big dog fighting games like Tekken or Street Fighter. Obviously, this game isn't going to do as good as them, but the sales for this game was still above average for a brand new fighting game that no one has heard of before. Was it the unique style that intrigued people enough to buy it? Was it the interesting quest mode? Oh, and I forgot to mention that this game came with a pre-release demo for another kind of forgotten game. Yeah, it came with an exclusive early demo for Final Fantasy VII. No wonder people were buying this game up. To be honest, it probably hurt old Tobal number 1 in the long run, but you know. Alright, I gotta fess up. I've been keeping a secret from you this whole video. Something I noticed while playing and purposely avoided talking about or bringing attention to. Maybe some of you caught on by just watching the gameplay. But doesn't this style and certain parts of this game remind you of something? Like, it all seems familiar, right? They ripped a lot of these designs straight from Dragon Ball Z. What really gave it away was a city in the background. That's a damn Dragon Ball city. You can't tell me otherwise. Also, some of these characters, especially their boots and gloves, if you watch any amount of Dragon Ball, then you immediately recognize them. And some of these fighters are basically Dragon Ball characters, just altered a little bit. Dream Factory. I understand being inspired, but you don't have to rip off entire designs from... Wait. Akira Toriyama? He worked on this? Holy shit. No wonder the designs look so familiar. The man himself made them. Well, that makes this game 100 times better. You know what else makes this game 100 times better? There's another secret character that you can unlock called Tori. Toriyama fans will immediately know who this is. This little gas-masked robot is a character that Akira Toriyama used to represent himself in a lot of his manga. It's wild seeing they put this in the game. I've been recording footage and playing this game for about a week now. It's been a crazy ride. I kept discovering things while researching. I had a whole section typed out, drawing comparisons to Dragon Ball and critiquing it, and I had to completely throw it out after I beat the game and saw it was designed by the man himself. The thing all this time, this game has only been living in my memory, and me not knowing if I was even remembering it right. Not only to rediscover the game and soak in all that nostalgia, but to find out that the creator of Dragon Ball was behind all the designs I loved and part of the reason why I remembered the game so well. It's just mind blown. It's bittersweet now since the legend has passed away this year, but it makes me wonder how many people even know about this game and how it's related to Dragon Ball. I didn't even know until I started looking into it for this video, and it's just been, I did not expect all this. I just expected this video to be a nostalgia trip. That's all. And then I've uncovered all this other stuff, and just, Lord, it's crazy as hell. All right, well, I'll let you bastards go. I'll leave you with Tori kicking some ass.
Ready, fight!